Hi, in the previous lecture, we created a simple queue and work queue. The assumption behind a work queue is that each message is delivered to exactly one consumer. In this lecture, we will do something completely different because we deliver the same message to multiple consumers. This pattern is known as publish-subscribe. The simplest publish-subscribe pattern can be modeled on the top of the fanout exchange. In practice, you can use this pattern to send news to mobile applications or send geo-tracking data to various downstream systems, as well to transmit logs to different outputs, where, for instance, first consumer print them on standard output, second send them to downstream system like Elasticsearch, but third one just archive them in the file storage. To illustrate the pattern, we are going to build a simple news feed system. Alright, please log in to your RabbitMQ web management UI. Now we are going to create two more queues for our consumers. Please expand Add a new queue. And let's create a name for our first queue. As usual, I'm starting the queue from a queue letter, but any naming convention is fine enough. Queue for my first consumer will be named like queue.events client1. Okay. Type of my queue is classic. Durability is set to durable. So click Add Queue. Alright. Let's create second queue. Queue.events.client2. Okay. Please click Add Queue. Alright, so we have two queues where our messages will be stored. Okay, so now we need to create an exchange. This is the first time when we create our new exchange because previously we published message to our queues using a nameless exchange. Click on Exchanges. Here you see AMQP default, which is a nameless exchange which we used in previous lectures. Now we need to create a new exchange. Please expand Add a new exchange. Like with queues, naming convention for exchanges is really important. In this course, I will be naming my exchanges using the EX prefix, but any naming convention is fine enough. So ex.events. Alright. Type of exchange has to be fanout. Durability, please leave it as durable, because message to survive RabbitMQ restart has to be sent to durable exchange as well persisted, stored in durable queue. Alright, let's click Add Exchange. Great. The last thing is a binding. Now we need to bind our exchange with two queues we created a moment ago. But before we do this, let's see what can happen when we publish a message to not bound exchange. Please expand Publish Message and let's create a payload. Message. Alright, this is very simple JSON. Let's publish. You receive the information. Message is published but not routed. It means that Exchange accepted the message, but RabbitMQ is not able to store this message in any queue. Why? Because we have no binding. So let's create a binding. You can create the binding from the Exchange as well from the queue perspective. In this hands-on session, I will create a binding from the Exchange perspective. Please expand Bindings. And you see this exchange has no bindings. In this place, you can bind your exchange to queue by providing name of the queue. So the first queue we created was queue.events.client1. I'm leaving routing key and arguments empty. Click bind. All right. And now I need to add a second binding. The second binding is from this exchange to queue, which name is queue events client2. Click bind. Okay. Let's check the binding from the queue perspective. Click on queues. Click on the one of the queues we created. And you can expand bindings. And here you can check the binding also from the queue perspective. Binding is between exchange x.events and this queue. All right. Let's publish the message again. Click on exchanges. Click on our fanout exchange. And let's publish our message again. So this is content of our message, some kind of news about sport. Click publish. Okay. We see information, message published. Now let's check our queue statistics. Click on queues. All right. You see the same message being routed to two different queues. Now client 1 can read the message from this queue and client 2 can read the message from this queue. Let's check one of those queues and try to get messages from it. I'm clicking on client 1. Scroll down and expand get messages. Select automatic acknowledgement because we want to get message and send the acknowledgement that we successfully processed the message. Okay. You see, this is the payload we received. Go back to our queues. And you see that first client has already consumed the message, but client 2 still has to consume this message. Okay, let's summarize. In this lecture, we illustrated simple publish-subscribe pattern where the same message is consumed by many consumers. Please remember that fanout exchange simply ignores routing key, so binding key you may use between exchange and queue is basically ignored. Okay, I hope you like it, and I see you.